this guy was at every march and rally, and he was like big Antifa and communism, and he met someone there, and the guy was like, "Hey, can I crash with you?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, sure." So he brought him and his girlfriend and stayed on the couch, and after 2 weeks, the guy wouldn't let the homeowner into his own house, and he had to call the police.
Get a fake lease. So you draft up a fake lease. You use that lease to get the power, and things turn in your name. You pay the bill. Like, there's a bunch of different steps that you can do that just seems to indicate that you are the legal resident, and then they have to take you to court.
But they always hold up like a dirty piece of paper. I have a lease, and it's just like a happy face and a house behind it.
The gentleman over at the Rogan show, Rogan podcast, also talking about squatters. And look, the topic of squatters' rights, which many are shocked to find is even a thing, is getting a lot of media attention lately. And while some think it's part of some shadowy right-wing media plot to fearmonger about a made-up problem, the truth is that the violent and extreme nature of some of these cases are drawing everyone's attention. Make no mistake, there are outdated and old-timey laws protecting squatters all over the country, including in red states. For today, though, I want to focus on some of the insane cases that have inspired New York's lawmakers to possibly take some action. One such insane case involves Nadia Vittles, who traveled from Spain to New York to check on her deceased mother's apartment, only to find that 2 squatters had been living there. Assemblymember Will Barclay told CBS News that she went to the apartment, encountered 2 squatters who tragically beat her to death, and then stuffed her body in a duffel bag. Really horrific. That wasn't the only high-profile case that got a lot of attention in recent weeks. Here's another.
Show you some new video. It shows federal agents at this home in the Bronx Wednesday afternoon. There you see it on the security footage. Authorities walking several people out of the home in handcuffs. This all started last Wednesday when police responded to a call about a man with a gun near the school you mentioned. Police chased 2 Venezuelan migrants with illegal guns into their home, where they discovered they had been squatting in the basement. Here's a look at that basement. Inside, police say they found several more guns, cocaine and ketamine, all in the presence of a 7-year-old child. 5 more men and 1 woman were arrested. Now, the suspect who prompted that 911 call that set all of this off, it's this guy on your screen, Hector De Sousa Villalta. He was accused of shooting a man last year. He was charged with attempted murder, but was later released.
Pausing here to deliver some honest truth as we do in our news coverage as well. TYT is facing challenges, guys, as the entire industry is. You know who could make the difference? You. If you hit the join button below, it's gonna make all the difference and keep us in business. We appreciate you, thank you.
Later released. Why am I not surprised? He shot a guy. He was charged with attempted murder. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about that some other time. While violent cases that extreme are luckily rare, what isn't uncommon is the unjust financial chaos New Yorkers are finding themselves in when victimized by squatters. John Sokrin invested in a home that he planned to rent out for income during his retirement. But that plan fell apart when squatters took over the home and refused to leave. Even though this poor man is not earning a single dime of income from the property, he says he's draining his pension to keep the utilities on as the thieves live rent-free. Now, why would he do that? Well, it turns out that under New York's current laws, the squatters have the same rights as legal tenants after squatting for 30 days. If the landlord, Sokrin in this case, turns off the utilities, the same laws that protect legal tenants that are good, those are good laws, would kick in for the thieves, which is bad. And landlords face a $250 a day fine if utilities like power and water are shut off. As you might already know, evicting the squatters is extremely burdensome due to the lengthy and costly process. Homeowners bear the burden of initiating a court process that can drag on for years. And squatters often qualify for free counsel through the Legal Aid Society. Obviously, that's not the case for the homeowners who have no choice but to shell out thousands of dollars over multiple years to get the squatters out. That's what happened to Kim Emmett. Squatters broke into her property back in 2016, she says. She also says, I did not get rid of them until 2019. It took her 3 years to gain control of the property she owns. The way the incident went down was unbelievably brazen too. Emmett told CBS that the tenant she had actually rented the space to left a key in the door as they were unloading groceries. Well, if you're in New York, don't do that, because literally in minutes, a squatter stole the keys, refused to leave, and moved in. Emmett says that he changed the locks. I couldn't even believe it, and so I called the police immediately. You know what he did? He took a can of paint and he wrote his name on the mailbox before the cops came in black ink. So when they came, he told them that he was always there. At that point, police tell the homeowner that it's a civil matter and must be dealt with through the courts. But it takes months to get a court date, which is a problem because after occupying the home for 30 days, the squatter has the same rights as a legal tenant. Obviously, people looking to steal and live rent-free are gaming the system through laws from literally like ages ago that don't really make sense in modern times. And this is happening all across America. Florida, where Governor Ron DeSantis signed bipartisan legislation updating their laws, seems to be the only state that felt compelled to act quickly. But New York City could be joining the Sunshine State soon because City Council member Vicky Palladino wants to update laws in New York City. And as I mentioned earlier, current laws in New York stipulate that squatters can legally be considered tenants after living in a unit for 30 days or more. Palladino wants to change that threshold to 180 days in New York City. And look, I'm not really sure that's enough to solve the issue, but it is better than what's being proposed by state lawmakers who are considering legislation that would raise the threshold by just 15 days. And I also think added provisions like mandating notarized lease agreements could help too. That way, police can decipher whether someone is a legal tenant or if squatters are just providing fraudulent documentation they claim to be the lease. Most states, including California and New York, do not require notarized lease agreements. Either way, local governments need to do the one thing everyone of all political persuasions believes the government should do: protect their constituents. The notion that lawmakers continue to stand by as Americans are being robbed of their homes and livelihoods is outrageous to say the least, and there's no excuse for it. And look, I agree with advocates who point to our very real housing crisis. But if you're tempted to defend the squatters due to housing prices, just don't, please don't, especially in New York, which has right to shelter laws. Advocating for theft is not a solution to our housing shortage. It literally solves nothing. The advocacy is better served in pressuring lawmakers to build more homes instead of protecting thieves. As for state and local governments that have failed to address squatters, allegations that government is useless shouldn't be used as a blueprint for being useless.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.